Sears Point course. Other cars that run very well here, the Die-Line Corvettes, qualifying first and fourth. Bill Hennessy trackside with one of the Corvette drivers.
Bill Cooper, you're a man that obviously has a destination set out for this afternoon, and that is a checkered flag. How strong is your Corvette?
Well, we got a real good Corvette this year. The Die-Line factory team here has done real well. Doug Rippey's put the car together. We've been together for quite a few years. My teammate won the championship last year. I know the track real well, so all things are in the right place, but sometimes little gremlins come in and can bite you, but we're hoping for the best.
You have a lot of laps over this circuit. You used to be an instructor here, teaching other people how to get around here.
That's right. I worked for the Bondurant School of Driving here for probably 15 years before we moved to Phoenix, Arizona. So I probably have more laps around here than any human being. Sometimes that gives you an advantage, but you have very good drivers in this race, and in all honesty, it's the combination of the crew and the car and the driver that really comes together and makes for a win.
The thoughts of Bill Cooper, who will start from the pole today here at Sears Point. Here's a quick look at the racetrack. 2.52 miles, covering 12 turns, snaking through the hills, the wine country of Northern California. We'll be back for the start of the SCCA World Challenge in a moment. The Chevrolet Motorsports Hour is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America.
The new Camaro. What else would you expect from the country that invented rock and roll?
SCCA. We make racing happen. To get involved, call for membership information. Toll free, 1-800-255-5550.
We're behind the Slick 50 racing team all the way, but then so is most everyone else. Now your car can have the same premium engine protection that's helping Slick 50 become a NASCAR winner. For the car you drive, for the way you drive. Slick 50, high performance engine formula.
Welcome back to Sears Point International Raceway, the SCCA World Challenge event on the racetrack. We've got 34 cars ready to do battle here today. Take a look at the starting lineup. On the lead row, Bill Cooper in one of the Corvettes. We heard from him earlier. Elliott Forbes Robinson in the Daltech Nissan. Second row, Izzy Sanchez. R.K. Smith in the other Corvette out of the Die-Line shops. Third row, pole qualifier in Class B, Lou Gelati, John Schneider there too. Fifth row includes Alan Paintleford and Neil Hanneman. David Lapham, Kermit Upton in one of the BMWs in the sixth row, a strong competitor. Jay Morris and Matt Adams, the seventh row. Chris Neville and Dave Jolly, the quick qualifier in Category C. Rob Vining, Tom Nastasi, Peter Cunningham, and Ron Emmett making up row 10. We move a little further back in the field. Paul Armstrong and Taz Harvey. Norris Rancourt, a very strong C-class competitor, and Spencer Sharp in the 12th. 13th row, David Carroll, Bruce MacArthur, Albert Mirko, and Michael Sturm in the 14th row. Heading down to the back of the field, 15th row, Keith Young and Mark Youngquist, Gary Aid and Patrick Flynn in the 16th. Rounding out the field in a Suzuki Swift, Bob Beatty, Steve Dinan, the originator of the Dinan BMW, the turbocharged BMW. No time, he'll start at the rear of the field. Joining us in the booth for today's action, Price Cobb, former IMSA champion. Price, great to have you with us today. We're looking forward to an outstanding event here.
Well, Rick, thanks much for having me here this weekend. As I scan the field, I sure would like to be there. Between the cars, the machines, and the drivers, what a race we'll have today.
Got some super equipment up front. Of course, the two Daltec Nissans, the two Dieline Corvettes, many other fine competitors in there. Field getting set to come to the green flag. 1 hour to go. 34 cars in action today, and we're underway. And the two Corvettes jump right out early. Bill Cooper, Elliott Forbes Robinson, and the Nissan has to fall back to third as they start up the hill for the first time. Cooper with the early lead in that Corvette. He's got so many laps in here, that has to be an advantage for him.
Yeah, I would think so. And certainly having the opportunity to have an aspirated car over the turbocharged Nissan of Elliott Forbes Robinson here, it would make it very difficult to drive. You know, I think you're looking at the future of sports car racing as the world goes through a few economic changes. I'm really jealous that I can't be here this weekend.
Some great competitors. Boris Said is up to 4th spot in the Blue Blocker Mustang. That's the baby blue car that's riding right behind Elliott Forbes Robinson's red and white number 73. As we see Boris Said work down through the hill. Now they're coming up onto a short straightaway here. Is this a good place to pass at Sears Point?
Absolutely. It's one of the two main places to pass. You get a shot off of the carousel up this next straightaway. It's got a little kink into it that leads you into the most difficult braking point in the whole track. Great time to set up.
Bill Cooper still out in front of the Dieline Corvette. R.K. Smith right behind. R.K. has really dominated this series over the last several years.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that this weekend he's not up there with Bill. But of course, certainly Bill's experience with the Bondurant's driving school has got to have helped a little bit.
Cooper qualifying on the pole here today. R.K. Smith could do no better than 4th, but at the moment he has advanced to 2nd spot as we start down through the S's for the first time.
Yeah, I'm also shocked to see that Elliott's hanging in so well. It speaks well of the team and certainly of his ability. Elliott's been through this track many a times, from a prototype down to a GTU car, so I look forward to seeing a great race.
We see Boris Said still 4th in the Mustang. The first Porsche in the field, Izzy Sanchez out of Mountain View, California, the Gardner Racing Carlson car. He is up to 5th at the moment as the field starts to string it out, but still it's the Corvettes off the 12th turn onto the main straightaway.
You know, yet it's a bit early to tell. This track is known to be hard on tires, and a lot of stuff will be coming off the tires throughout the weekend. I imagine the farther they go in this race, the more important it is that you remain on one single line.
Weather here very nice today. Temperature about 83, 84 degrees at race time, so really good conditions to go road racing, I would think.
Yeah, and again, I can't speak highly enough of this circuit. It's very, very difficult track to plan a move, to make a move. You have to keep really thinking ahead, particularly when they start getting into traffic. It's easy to get caught up in someone else's mistakes.
The Corvette still showing the way. Your leader, Bill Cooper. R.K. Smith is 2nd. Elliott Forbes Robinson, Boris Said, and Izzy Sanchez rounding out the top 5. Sanchez trying to stay with him in the Porsche, but this is looking like a horsepower race at the moment.
But, you know, it's a bit odd. It's really, I would have thought a car that's well balanced would have been supreme here. Now, the Corvette, of course, is known for that. The 944 Turbo is also known for that. But you've got to have good brakes, okay power, but an ability for the car to change directions without upsetting itself.
Car's making a hard 180-degree right-hand turn now as Cooper still leads R.K. Smith. They'll start down the hill. This is the S-turn portion of the course here at Sears Point. Is this a place where you just need to ride and make sure you stay on the course, or can you really make a move here?
You can set up somebody about 2 turns, 3 turns later if you do the S's correctly. But you are right in the fact that you need not attack those S's. You need to be smooth, consistent. Otherwise, you will catch yourself 2 corners later.
Elliott Forbes Robinson, the Daltec Racing Nissan 3rd, but he looks like he's going to try to make a move to the inside of R.K. Smith. Elliott Forbes Robinson down low has to give it up.
You know, it's been my experience that although the Nissan is certainly a magnificent automobile, it has a bit of a difficulty in trying to outbrake a car like the Corvette. And from what I can tell, and we may see this later in the race when Elliott makes a concerted effort to pass somebody, the car doesn't move, squat, or dive much, and that's built into the design of the suspension. Sometimes that'll catch you out. The driver doesn't have a great deal of feel as to what you're doing because of that. It's not a negative. It's just something else for everybody to learn.
And Elliott Forbes Robinson has had plenty of chances to learn. One of the most experienced drivers in the field. Elliott's raced Winston Cup cars. He's raced all over the world. At the moment, he finds himself running behind the car of R.K. Smith in 3rd spot here at Sears Point. We're at Sears Point International Raceway in the A class. Bill Cooper over R.K. Smith. EFR, Boris Said and Izzy Sanchez. Lou Gelati leads the B's over David Lapham. Willie Lewis, Neil Heineman, Alan Taylorford. Dave Jolly is your leader in Class C. We'll see more from those divisions a little later on. We'll be back.
You'll feel it with every serve, with every volley, with every pivot and every stride. You'll feel the unique comfort cushioning of the polyurethane insole and the superior outsole durability and traction found only in Asahi. You'll feel it in your bones. The MX-11 for men and LX-15 for women with exclusive Asahi bones. Buy any pair of Asahi tennis shoes at a participating Asahi retailer and receive a free Asahi Bones t-shirt.
Are exciting, but the danger is haunting.
Anderson 400 from Indiana. Live Saturday night at 9 on Sports Up.
Welcome back to Sears Point International Raceway, the SCCA World Challenge here on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. Rick Benjamin with Price Cobb, the last American to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, one of your many accomplishments.
Yeah, thanks again, Rick. And, you know, I can't tell you enough about these guys that we're seeing here running today. It's always a pleasure to see old friends and buddies and comrades of mine in the past years.
Now we're watching Bill Cooper and R.K. Smith show the way so far. R.K. Smith, the 1992 World Challenge champion in the A class, but here's Elliott Forbes Robinson trying to get inside of him.
Well, do you see that Elliott finally locked up the tires? And that may have been back to part of the fact that the car doesn't have any, or has a great deal of anti-dive in it. It's tough for the driver to feel when the car itself doesn't move around and let you know what it's doing.
EFR tried to make that move inside turn 7, but he couldn't accelerate off the corner hard enough to maintain the position.
You know, I'll show you what else is interesting. I don't know if RK is holding Elliott up. It's always a tough decision. But you see it, Boris Said is really hanging in there in that Celine Mustang.
Boris Said out of Connecticut, now racing out of California in 4th position in the Blue Blocker Mustang. As we see EFR again swing inside. Is his car more maneuverable?
Well, it could be. I would have thought that not necessarily, but it seems to me he's getting Elliott's getting a better drive off of the turn 10 into that last turn 11.
Well, he made the move that time and got by R.K. Smith, so Elliott Forbes Robinson has grabbed 2nd spot here today, but he's now got to chase down Bill Cooper, who's the leader in car number 3. There's EFR. R.K. Smith now being shuffled back to 3rd spot, the defending series champion in the SCCA World Challenge. Got a glimpse of Izzy Sanchez right behind, and then Boris Said's automobile. Sanchez has moved by Said to take 4th spot. Sanchez doesn't make all the races in this Porsche, but when he does, he is a factor.
He always has been, too. I used to race against Izzy, but what's heartwarming to me is that I used to race with the Carlson people that have prepared that car this weekend. I'd reckon that he ought to make a good run for this towards the end. If he has an opportunity to keep the lead Corvette and Elliott in sight, that car is so well balanced and it's got outstanding brakes. It'd be interesting to see how it all plays out.
We'll keep an eye out for the Porsche a little later on. Meantime, there's Bill Cooper moving out of the carousel and out of the short straightaway. EFR in 2nd, R.K. Smith, Sanchez there. And everyone still giving chase to the guy who's logged an awful lot of race time here, Bill Cooper, in one of the die-line Corvettes. Top 4 cars really bunched together. Here's Boris Said coming out of the carousel, running in 5th spot. And these races that run about an hour or so, it must be tough to kind of keep your rhythm. That's a pretty long race.
Well, you know, it seems like it to the average person. I can tell you, though, that a 1-hour race is the racer's dream. It gives in 1 hour times, you have the opportunity to literally race as hard as you can race. Now, having said that, let's not forget that these cars are fairly heavy in terms of racing automobiles. And the tires that they're on, you can tear them up if you're not careful. Here we go with that maneuver again by Elliott. Watch that inside right tire lock up momentarily. And it's also a pleasure to see 2 guys not actually bashing each other. R.K. Smith has given him racing room. 2 gentlemen here, 2 seasoned veterans, if you may, racing for the next position.
And we saw R.K. Smith on the outside. Elliott Forbes Robinson got him a little bit later on, but R.K. definitely with better drive off the corner coming out of that particular spot on the racetrack. Get a look at Willie Lewis and one of the Archer Brothers Eagles there. He is currently 2nd in the B class behind this gentleman, Lou Gelati, out of Dallas, Texas, in his young Chevrolet Camaro. And Lou's been at this quite a while, too, in the B division.
Yeah, and it's neat to see Lou driving this car so well. I would have thought that a little bit lighter car, like the one that Willie Lewis is in and his teammate are in, would have had a bit of an upper hand here. I imagine as Lou goes on, he's got to be concerned with the fact that his car is more powerful and heavier yet than the other 2 cars. He will have to drive and keep his tires under the car.
The red and white Nissan that you saw in that last shot, John Schneider out of Dallas, who is Elliott Forbes Robinson's teammate in the other Dahltech car. And we're getting a look at some of the Archer brothers entries. The 32 is Neil Hanneman, also in the B division. He and Willie Lewis really get at it. They really put on a great show, and undoubtedly they'll be factors in the battle for the B division title here today. But right now, they're chasing Lou Gelati in that black and white Chevrolet, the number 28. This is one of the 93 Camaros, and we're told that these cars are a little more aerodynamic than the earlier 92s, 91s that have run the series.
They certainly look like it, but I think better yet is the fact that they do everything as a whole better. They brake better, they turn better. It's a bit of a more balanced package, which probably allows Lou an easier time.
Now, Gelati at the moment managing to hold up the other A-Class Nissan of Schneider, as we see Gelati tucking down low to stay in front of Willie Lewis. Those two cars running first, second, and then Hanneman there running third, the top three in Class B all together on the racetrack at the moment. What about Schneider? Is he getting frustrated because he's being held up by the slower
car?
Well,
I would have thought so, but if you notice, just before they went into that turn, he dove into the pits. And John Schneider's interesting story for me. He was the man responsible for bringing me back into racing. I used to work for a guy named Corky Bell in Dallas when I met John Schneider. We were messing with some of his automobiles, his street cars. But John's a good man. I would say he'd be frustrated following Lou around, but to be able to use the power of that car, you'd have to get Lou out of the way.
Here's a look at how they stand in Class A on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. Bill Cooper over Elliott Forbes Robinson, Lou Gelati over Willie Lewis, and Neil Hanneman in the B cars. And let's take a look at Class C. Dave Jolly, the leader. We'll be back.
Sometimes in life, you have to seize the moment. That's what Racer Magazine does for you. Here's the auto racing monthly you've been waiting for. It's about time. Racer is informed, emotional, authoritative, and passionate, with large-scale, full-color graphics, written and photographed by the best. Something worth reading, something worth keeping. There are no long, boring race reports. You already know what happened. Racer tells you how it was done. We want you to have the opportunity to take Racer for a test drive, to experience this new magazine for yourself. To order a trial subscription, call toll-free 1-800-553-7400. There's no risk, there's no obligation. If you're not happy with your first issue, just mark cancel on your bill. We don't think you will. Seize the moment. Take Racer for a test drive. Call toll-free 1-800-553-7400.
We bailed at 12K. I was shooting bids for the tube jocks over at Sports South. They wanted footage of a highly disciplined and well-trained unit. Needing the ultimate, they came to see me and the dudes. We tossed our mains, but mine was bogus. Thinking I was toast, I began to wig. I grubbed for my reserve chute and pulled and pulled.
Sports South's excellent summer. Don't try to pull this at home.
Welcome back to Sears Point International Raceway. Rick Benjamin, former IMSA champion Bryce Cobb with us for the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. The SCCA World Challenge, Elliott Forbes Robinson again doing battle with one of the die-line Corvettes down into the final turn here, trying to work on Bill Cooper this time.
Well, it's an interesting fact to note that Elliott's carrying more speed out of the second to the last turn, which gives him the opportunity to easily pull up alongside the Corvettes into the last turns. Both passes have been made in the exact same place.
EFR grabs the overall lead now. We're about a third of the way into today's event here at Sears Point, and he really seems to have gotten it cranked up in the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's impressive. I'd like to know what difficulties, if any, the other guys are suffering. Elliott's not known for doing silly things or pushing too hard at the beginning, which is really his strength. Very smart racer, real savvy, saves the greatest till the end, and yet you're seeing him take the lead pretty early on.
Now, is this going to be a tough racetrack on the brakes, or the Corvettes possibly at a disadvantage there?
Well, you know, I would say possibly both cars would be if they were indeed production automobiles, but they're allowed by rule to change both the calipers and the rotors that they run. You know, let's face it, production stuff is not meant to deal with the weights and the speeds of these cars.
Willie Lewis now making a move on Lou Gelati. Look at this, 3 wide into turn 11 at Sears Point. Lewis in the 33, Hanneman in the 32. Hanneman on the outside, but he won't be able to maintain the position. Gelati has to look for a spot down the middle here. What a battle.
Yeah, that was sensational. Both guys must have simultaneously decided that Gelati's brakes were going away. Now, it's interesting to see that Willie is having a tough time holding on to the lead. Now, coming off that turn, the guy that went to the outside, of course, ran out of room. The wall came looming up rapidly. He had to back out of it.
Neil Hanneman had to hold things up. Hanneman in the 32 now second. This is the battle among the three leaders in Class B in today's SCCA World Challenge here at Sears Point. Lou Gelati out of Dallas being shuffled back to third. Now we take a look at the leader in Class C. This is Dave Jolly out of California in his Olds Achieva. Now this is a car you would normally think of as a race car, a pretty good commuter car on the street.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought, but I've watched the Oldsmobile people over the last few years, certainly with that engine they've got, that quad-4 engine. The car's an outstanding chassis for a front-drive sedan. You have to hand it to them. They've been winning a lot of races.
Good battle in C. Jolly in the 81, the number 9, one of the other cars. That's Peter Cunningham out of Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, in his Kenwood Redline Oil Honda Prelude, also in the thick of the hunt. And one of Jolly's teammates, the 82, Ron Emick from Rancho Cordova, California. Those top 3 cars in Class C also nose to tail out of the carousel. Now, at a track like Sears Point, those cars are able to stay pretty close together, and they're very quick.
Yeah, I know that Dave Jolly comes from a heck of a background in this sort of thing, and it's pleasing to see that the rules allow such darn close racing. It's this sort of thing that keeps the fans on their feet. I also like to see who comes out ahead at this race. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys don't do this throughout the day.
Well, they're running close together now. We're about a third of the way home here today at Sears Point. It's Jolly in the 81, then the number 9, the car Peter Cunningham, the Honda, then the 82, Ron Emick, one of the Jolly team entries, and another Olds Quad 4 Achieva as they work down through the S's under the Winston Cup Bridge there and on the backside of the course here at Sears Point International Raceway. The way SCCA has this series set up with the 3 different divisions for the 3 speed levels of cars, great competition in all 3 as we see another move being made here by Cunningham.
Yeah, another thing that's interesting to note, that the fastest cars by sort of physical law would dictate to the car be a rear driver. But as you move down through the class, don't forget that Lou Gelati was the only guy with a rear drive car in his class that was really substantially quicker. So as you move back down, as is sort of the normal day-to-day thing on the street, a front drive car is an outstanding car to drive. So it's pretty much a comfortable car to drive, and that's why you see them so predominantly on the street.
Peter Cunningham in car number 9. That's the Honda Prelude, one of the new model Preludes last year, and he's got the lead right now over Dave Jolly and Ron Emick in Class C. And we take a look at the pass for the lead down into that hard 180-degree right-hand corner.
Now, I would hazard a guess to say the Honda is probably lighter by rule, because I presume it's got a smaller engine. Matter of fact, I know it does, which would give it, you know, it certainly gives a power edge to the other guys.
And we go back up in front. Let's take a quick look. Elliott Forbes Robinson, who finished second in the first World Challenge of the Year at Road Atlanta. He's opened up a good lead now over the Dieline cars, the 2 Corvettes, the Bill Cooper and R.K. Smith machines. And here's Izzy Sanchez now moving by R.K. Smith.
You know, and again, I'm wondering if there's something wrong with the Corvettes. This is a place I would have thought they'd have been just superb showing. Izzy, of course, has probably been biding his time. I'd like to see if he could have a run at Elliott. The next man he's got to catch is Bill Cooper. We'll see what happens.
Sanchez in the 79 as he goes by R.K. Smith, the defending series champion in car number 1. R.K. with many, many, many victories in World Challenge competition. EFR now opening up a good lead over Bill Cooper. Cooper trying to move by one of the Class B Camaros. Makes the pass on the inside easily. Get a look at a Nissan Sentra there in Class C. And we take a look again as R.K. Smith works by. This is a very quick part of the course here. So you've come downhill for a long way.
It's the quickest and oftentimes the most difficult. The turn 9 leading to 10, if you don't get that right, you certainly won't get 10 right. And I can recall before they'd widen 10 that you used to run off the road easily. But it gives you an opportunity to outbrake people in the last turn, which we've seen at least twice from Elliott.
Izzy Sanchez up to 3rd now in Class A, 3rd overall in that Porsche. Moving down the main straightaway and up the hill into turn 1, that left-hander. Take a look back again at one of the Corvettes working along. There's one of the Class B Camaros. And Sanchez, the Corvette in 2nd spot. That's the car driven by Bill Cooper. There's R.K. Smith running 4th overall. And here's a couple of cars getting together. David Carroll in the 48 trying to pass Michael Sturm.
Yeah, poor David was probably trying to give Michael a little bit of room and caught himself out by braking late.
Carroll in that Camaro out of Marina, California, comes to a stop off the course. He'll try to get the car refired, see if he can get back into competition today in the SCCA World Challenge here at Sears Point International Raceway. Willie Lewis leads Neil Hanneman in Class B. We'll be back.
Corvette Vac by Eureka for home or auto. 10 tools included. Power for big jobs, tight spots, extra long cord. Corvette Vac by Eureka.
Tune up your car, Tom Smothers. Tune up your car today. Take it, Tom. With spark plugs from NGK.
For the car you drive, for the way you drive. Slick 50 high-performance engine formula.
Not even Bonnie and Clyde could have gotten away with a steal like this. That's right, for the next half hour only, when you call Classic Motor Carriages at 1-800-CLASSIC, you can build this component 34 hot rod and save $1,000. $1,000 off one of the baddest cars on the road. But you'd better hurry, because saving $1,000 on a rod this hot, well, it's like what Bonnie and Clyde once said.
Some kind of emergency, Bob?
Oh, yeah, free pups at Crystal.
Nothing's free. Besides, you got a dog.
Honest, trooper. Head to Crystal, buy 3 pups, get the 4th one free.
Yeah, the chili pup. All beef hot dog, mouth-watering chili, and the corn pup with a dog dipped in that tasty cornmeal batter. Aren't you a little young to have a license?
Hey, he's a dog. Multiplied by 7.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to Sears Point International Raceway. Rick Benjamin and Bryce Cobb on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. We're in the SCCA World Challenge round here at Sears Point. Coming up to the third in his BMW, falling back in the field. Normally a very strong competitor in Class B. There's a good battle in Class C. Norris Rancourt in car number 58 running in the 5th spot right now, trying to track down his teammate Taz Harvey in those other 2 Honda Preludes.
Well, interesting fact to see that these 2 C-Class Honda Preludes chasing these 2 B-Class BMWs. I'd like to say that the Hondas are light and nimble, and they're probably having a bit of a better time keeping their tires underneath them.
Harvey and Rancourt, longtime C-Class World Challenge competitors, very much a standout team. They've been working together for a number of years. Kermit Upton in that BMW we caught a brief glimpse of, a very strong runner in Class B, but he seems to be a little bit off the pace today as, again, we take a look at Rancourt in the 58, Taz Harvey in the 88, working through the final corner here at Sears Point, up the short straightaway now. They'll head towards start-finish in just a moment as the cars start to string it out. Now, we're about halfway through today's event here at Sears Point, and really the cars that are the strongest are starting to show their strength.
Oh gosh, check that Camaro out losing it. That's a tough place to be. The car is very unstable as it comes up over the hill, and if you brake too hard, he could have been a little bit wide in the gray stuff, gotten something on his tires, but he definitely spun from the back, maybe brake lock. It's midway through the race. Things are starting to happen now. Tom
Nastasi out of Connecticut in the Nasty Boys Camaro. Here's Nastasi again on the next corner, having problems, also spinning off the track.
Well, this is very odd. Either something is broken in the car, which is certainly surprising him, or the fact that he went off just literally 2 corners before. He has so much stuff on the tires it doesn't have the grip.
I was going to ask if he might have a tire down. Would that produce that sort of
Absolutely. Anytime that one of the tires goes away or you're losing a shock absorber or a spring, it'll make the car, go from a nice planted 4 tires to something very odd indeed.
Tom Nastasi off the course. We look at Elliott Forbes Robinson in his Daltech Nissan, the 73. EFR out in front here today at Sears Point and looking very, very strong. Here's Nastasi in the 5 climbing out of the car. They're going to have to bring a wrecker evidently to help him. He looks as though he may be done for the afternoon here. That car out of Wilton, Connecticut, brought to you by, sponsored by Wilton Chevrolet in Connecticut. Nastasi, a longtime SCCA World Challenge runner. Caution on the speedway, and that's going to produce a slowdown condition in that part of the track. We're at Sears Point International Raceway for the SCCA World Challenge. Elliott Forbes Robinson over Izzy Sanchez in Class A. Willie Lewis leads Neil Hanneman in Class B. We'll be back.
Everyone talks about how racing technology makes their street cars better. There isn't a car company today that brings more race-winning technology to the street than Chevrolet.
We're behind the Slick 50 racing team all the way, but then so is most everyone else. Now your car can have the same premium engine protection that's helping Slick 50 become a NASCAR winner. For the car you drive, for the way you drive. Slick 50 high-performance engine formula.
SCCA. We make racing happen. To get involved, call for membership information. Toll free, 1-800-255-5550.
T-Plus engine treatment is made with tough DuPont Teflon, the same coating as on Mother's frying pan. Nothing sticks. This, on the other hand, is an unprotected engine. When you start your engine, metal grinds on metal. What add T-Plus once, and tough DuPont Teflon coats every valve guide, cylinder wall, bearing, and cam, reducing engine wear for up to 50,000 miles. Now you're cooking. Beat the daily grind, add T-Plus. The T is for Teflon.
Back at Sears Point International Raceway for the SCCA World Challenge on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. Rick Benjamin and Bryce Cobb. Now, when we last saw Tom Nastasi's car, it wasn't in this position. This happened while we were away at commercial. Let's show you how the car got to this point outside the racetrack here at Sears Point. Bryce, quite a situation.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that I think when the tow crew went to get his car, being not in gear, and they moved it a little bit, it got away from him.
Car, nobody inside the car. Nastasi's Camaro just backing down the outside of the track, stopping on the embankment, and the tow wrecker crew has to stop again and try to hook up the number 5 Camaro of Tom Nastasi out of Wilton, Connecticut, bring him back to the pit area as they stay under caution on that part of the course here at Sears Point. Pace car is out. In fact, this will be a full course caution now. The Mustang GT pace car here at Sears Point International Raceway for this weekend's events. Elliott Forbes Robinson being picked up as the leader. Izzy Sanchez, your old friend, up in second spot. He's made a nice run.
Yeah, Izzy sure has. I'm sure he had a bit of adjusting to do. He hasn't been in a car like this in a while, certainly not one that's this powerful. So you have to adapt for a while, which I think he's done quite well. The next factor that we might note, it'll be interesting to see, but this track is famous. You can see all the stuff, the tire rubber on the outside of the turns. Now, a heavy car like Ellie's driving, the Nissan, would certainly make its tires hotter than Izzy's car will. It'll be interesting to note that on the restart, if either of them have difficulties due to tire rubber pickup.
Well, let's see what's going on with Bill Cooper. Cooper ducking down pit road here before we get the restart. Perhaps he needs fresh rubber.
Well, it's certainly an option. I'd like to see if that's what transpires, although he has been dropping back for quite some time now.
Might indicate his tires are going away. Cooper brings the car to a stop here on pit road. His crew will jump out now in a 1-hour race. If you have to stop, that's a big problem.
Yeah, then again, it's the best time to do it. If there's a yellow scenario out, you might as well check if there's something you can do about it. Let's do it now and get back on the racetrack.
They're not working tires. Instead, the hood goes up. Our Bill Hennessy is on pit road. Let's see if he can find out what's wrong.
Very quickly, Bill Cooper, what's wrong?
Well, we got the car starting to miss and it's overheating, so we have to bring it in. It just progressively got worse and worse. So can't go without a motor.
Unfortunately, overheating is sidelining the man that started on the pole, Bill Cooper.
Well, that's a tough situation indeed when there's problems under the hood. This car had run so strongly earlier.
Yeah, it would have been nicer to see him duck into the pits and change the tires and do what have you to make that last half of the race dash to the front.
We're just past halfway here today at Sears Point. The Die-Line Racing crew, Doug Rippey and his team, taking a look, and evidently they're deciding there's not much they could do with the car overheating at this point, so the hood will stay up. And we get a look at Kermit Upton's BMW. They're screwing new rubber on the back of that car. Upton had been backing up the last several laps. The other Corvette's on pit road. R.K. Smith's car. Here's Bill Hennessy.
And the second Corvette of Die-Line Racing is in. This is R.K. Smith, the defending national champion. His hood goes up on a Corvette. At least it's under a yellow caution flag period, since the field is towing itself behind the pace car. RK having an animated conversation with Doug Rippey.
RK, no youngster. He's been at it a long time, defending winner of this race, but it looks as though his bid to repeat is going to run into some problems. They're still working under the hood on the car. Hard to imagine what's going on there.
Well, I can see something that's not connected properly, but I'll be darned if I know what it is.
Well, the Die-Line Motorsports team, very experienced, of course, in World Challenge Racing, trying to do some diagnostic work really quickly on pit road as we're under full course caution. They seem to have solved it temporarily, at least. RK heading back up onto the race course, but he's lost a lot of valuable time here in the pits. He probably won't go a lap down since we are under caution, but he's dropped out of the top 5. Elliott Forbes Robinson over Izzy Sanchez. 2 Class B cars, the Eagles of Lewis and Hanneman in the top 5. We'll be back.
Tune in to ESPN and Sports South as summer sports action heats up. Catch all this summer's sports action and more on ESPN and Sports South. Brought to you locally by Sportstown.
Your health problems caused by a lack of medication or surgery? Probably not. For 25 years, Arnold Chiropractic Life Center has played a key role in the health and well-being of thousands in the South Cobb area. Drs. Allen and Tripp Arnold use state-of-the-art technology along with basic chiropractic principles to access your body's natural healing ability. We provide affordable, quality health care, a welcome alternative to today's increasingly expensive healthcare system. Call Arnold Chiropractic Life Center today.
Foot to the floorboard. Gear jamming. Speed. The rewards are exciting, but the danger is haunting.
Anderson 400 from Indiana. Live Saturday night at 9 on Sports South.
Lead in 19.
Welcome back to Sears Point International Raceway, SCCA World Challenge on the racetrack. Rick Benjamin and Bryce Cobb bringing you the action today on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour. Bryce pace car is getting ready to duck in. EFR with the restart lead. Is he going to have any trouble here today? Is Sanchez capable of running with him?
Well, I would say both are possibilities. Don't forget that the Nissan being heavier tends to warm its tires up quicker. But having said that, they were probably warmer to begin with. I'd be interested to see if he hadn't picked up a lot of rubber, and it'll be a lap or two before he can get it collected.
Elliott Forbes Robinson out of Denver, North Carolina. That Daltech Racing 300ZX holding the sway. He got by the Corvette several laps ago and has managed to lead as the field again starts to string it out. We get a look at Boris Said back in action in the Blue Blocker Mustang. Boris ran up in the top 5 earlier, but has had problems, spent a lot of time on pit road, and is now far back in the field. Here's Sanchez in that car number 75, that Porsche. And that looks like a 944, but that's anything but a 944, isn't it?
Well, you're right. I don't think any of these cars are truly what they appear to be. The rules allow them to have stiffer chassis through tubing and so on and so forth. The 944 is an outstanding automobile to drive. It's very well balanced, front engine, rear transaxle, whereas the Nissan's got the transmission in the middle of the car. You know, it shows that Izzy has really given Elliott a hard time here. Let's see if it doesn't play out the rest of the race. If they can clean their tires off, one of them may pull away from the other.
Izzy Sanchez making a run there on the outside, but he couldn't keep the car down tight enough on the corner to really go at Elliott Forbes Robinson. Now, the two Eagles out in front in Class B getting at it there as we go back and take another look at Elliott Forbes Robinson lengthening his lead a little through the S's.
Well, he's certainly trying, but you also notice there's a great deal of understeer coming off that turn. And again, I think it has to do with two things. The tires aren't back up to temperature yet, and or they're still dirty from the yellow flag caution period.
Now that caution period, we showed you just before the break how Willie Lewis and Neil Hanneman in these two B-class Eagle Talons had moved into 3rd and 4th overall. They're running nose to tail. Everyone, though, chasing this gentleman, Elliott Forbes Robinson, in car number 73. Izzy Sanchez with a nice job today in that Porsche, going up to 2nd. Again, here are the two Eagles. The 33 of Lewis out in front in Class B, 3rd overall. We saw Lou Gelati poke the nose of the young Chevrolet up in there. Also, he's 5th overall.
Yeah, Willie's line into that turn is a classic one if you're alone. Of course, I don't think he thinks his teammate's going to try to make a move on him. Oftentimes, though, you want to, because of what Lou's doing, you'd want to keep the line a little bit tighter. Now watch this. You'll see what I'm talking about in here.
Gelati trying to poke the nose of the Chevrolet inside of Hanneman going up the hill there.
You know, I think Gelati has, at the moment, his tires are cooled off again. At the start of the race, you saw Lou pull away handily from those guys. As the car was hard on the tires, started to warm him up, he dropped back. I think in the next 3 or 4 laps, you'll see him be able to do that throughout the time. Then he may drop back.
Now, is Hanneman blocking?
He's doing, some people may think it's blocking. I think it's using the racetrack appropriately to keep the gentleman behind you.
Well said. As we see Lewis and Hanneman, the two teammates, running 3rd and 4th overall out of the Archer Brothers stables.
This turn here, that downhill carousel, as we call it, is one that gives you a good shot to the next turn.
Yeah.
But having said that, if you overdrive that turn and to give yourself an opportunity, you may burn the tires down. So it's a toss-up.
Now we see Gelati, though, making a move to the inside. That's turn 7 at Sears Point, the end of the drag strip. Gelati gets by the car of Hanneman, so he has made one of the 2 passes he wants to make. Gelati now getting himself back into 2nd spot in the Class B standings.
Well, hopefully he's not looking great, quote-unquote, in order to get up to the front, but burning his tires down. I don't want to see him have to throw it all away because, you know, payday comes the last inch of the last lap. Let's see if he can make it stick throughout the race.
We're well into the second half of the event here today. Gelati out of Dallas, a veteran of this form of racing, the World Challenge Series. Gelati able to keep the car down low. Now, that would indicate his tires are still in pretty good shape.
Well, at the same token, I think he was hoping that Lewis was going to have difficulties getting in there. Now, he'd better be careful, not so much Gelati, but Lewis, because because he's leaving himself wide open for attack into that turn.
Well, let's see if there's going to be an attack coming as the cars race under the bridge past the start-finish line. Willie Lewis and Lou Gelati, Neil Hanneman, 1, 2, and 3 in Class B. There's Lewis in car number 33, the 28, the Chevrolet of Gelati running in second, and he makes a move inside.
Yeah, Willie again.
Oh, there's contact.
Yeah, a lot of contact. Sometimes you don't like to see it, but Lou's doing what you have to do to get to the front. I think certainly Willie was protecting himself, hoping that Lou wouldn't complete the pass. He did. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, here comes Lewis right back on the inside. And Gelati evidently with a problem.
Well, don't forget that they both touched and they went off the roads temporarily, which would have put a lot of stuff on Gelati's tires.
Hanneman now in the 32, getting by both Lewis and Gelati. So Neil Hanneman has moved himself into the #1 position in Class B, and a very strong overall standing as well. Let's take a look at it once again. Gelati coming to the inside. This is going by Willie Lewis as they come up the hill into turn 2.
We commented earlier that Willie was using the track as you would, I think, if you're on your own, but he wasn't protecting himself well from Gelati, and a good example was right there. Now, they both run off the track here, collecting a lot of rubbish on their tires, which will give the third car in line a good shot at passing them both.
Third car in line, the number 32 of Neil Hanneman, and Hanneman takes advantage to establish himself as the leader of that three-way battle among the Class B leaders. There's Lewis in the 33, being shuffled back to second spot as they work through the 7th turn and start down the backside of the course. The S's here at Sears Point. Lou Gelati with a problem after going off the road, but he'll stay third in Class B. We're in the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour at Sears Point International Raceway. We'll be right back.
Did you know Texaco puts System 3 in every grade of gasoline?
System 3 gets high marks in every grade, which is a lot better than I ever did.
My dad says Texaco puts System 3 in every grade. I'm in the 4th grade.
Of course. That's why I always fill up with System 3. What do I look like? Don't say it.
Visit your Texaco station.
I can get the tires rotated, the car lubed, and still get home in time for the game.
Mow the lawn.
For unbeatable System 3 gasolines and so much more.
Mow the lawn.
Mow the lawn.
So I'm thinking shrimp, but where do I go? Long John Silver's, the voice tells me so. It says the shrimp at Long John's will knock you out. It tastes so good your eyes will bug out. For $1.99 you get a tasty crunch, which suits people fine. They can eat a whole bunch. So I'm thinking, can this be real or is this a dream? So many great meals, I just want to scream.
Hey, why skip on shrimp?
I look for the sign that voice never lies. For $1.99 I got fish, shrimp, and fries. So if you love shrimp, you gotta go fish.
Long John Silver's, you're gonna get your wish. You got all your bad boys, they fight and they curse. But Mr. Goody Two-Shoes will whip you worse. Cause Mr. Two-Shoes, he got some new shoes. The wipes are ready to mount the shoes and all the universe. He might be nice, sweet, good and kind, but to put his Converse shoes on, let me tie your checks on your behind.
Nice shoes, KJ. See you later, okay?
Back at Sears Point, the SCCA World Challenge, Rick Benjamin and Bryce Cobb. Bryce, here's Lou Gelati. He got in trouble with Lewis and Hanneman. He's on pit road now.
That doesn't surprise me. You're going to see a lot of that going on. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't puncture a tire. Let's see what happens.
Now Gelati quickly down pit road. He's going to bring the car to the attention of the Maloney Racing Young Chevrolet crew, getting the jack underneath right away. Obviously, tire problems on the car. Our Bill Hennessy making his way over there. We'll try to get a word and find out what's going on with Gelati's automobile. Bill, what do you see down there?
What's going on? Lou Gelati, the 28 car, into the pits. The right front tire coming off. And another one going on. They're conferring with the driver now. Gelati losing a lot of time. This 93 Camaro in the pits. Got some damage on the left-hand side. Looks like he got into another car somewhere on course.
Well, he certainly did. Bryce, we saw that when he got mixed up with the two Eagles up on the front part of the course.
That's a disappointing time for him. Certainly to be stopping during the green is the worst possible time. And it was sad to see that although they had coming together amongst them, that he lost a tire out of it.
Gelati, the defending Class B winner here at Sears Point, victorious here in 92. We take a look back at Class C. Dave Jolly and Ron Emick, the 81 and the 82, the two old Chivas. They've been out in front of this class much of the way. They're having their good battle between the two of them going on right now.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any team orders. Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. I would hazard a guess that knowing Dave and the people that work with him, that there are no orders so long as you don't take each other out.
That's always the key. You don't want to bring the cars home wadded up. Jolly leading Emick up the hill into turn 1 and 2 here at Sears Point. And we check back with the leader, Elliott Forbes Robinson, in car number 73. EFR really having it all his own way at this point.
I'd like to see again if Izzy is biding his time. He's got to know that Nissan's been very hard on its own tires. But you never know. Elliott can be doing the same thing, watching to see if Izzy's going to make a go at it.
Izzy Sanchez, second spot right now in a Porsche. There he goes, moving by, but he's many car lengths behind Elliott Forbes Robinson. Now, at this stage of the race, we're about 2/3 of the way home. Is EFR just taking it easy?
You know, I would think so. I'm sure at the restart he was a bit concerned. Again, he probably felt the tires weren't up to temperature and had a lot of stuff on them. But I don't think he was expecting Izzy to give him such a run for his money. Now he may be just watching in his mirrors to see how close Izzy can stay to him. If indeed he can pull the lead and hold it easily, it will just be a cruise for Elliott on the way home.
And Forbes Robinson right there, the red and white Daltech Racing entry. Car between he and the automobile of Sanchez. Patrick Flynn out of Richmond, Texas, in the McGrath Motorsports Honda, one of the C-Class competitors who qualified at the back of the grid here today. Sanchez disposing of that car quickly. Here's Sanchez in the Porsche, running in second spot overall up the hill, trying to chase down Elliott Forbes Robinson with the lap starting to wind down. If Sanchez has much left, he really needs to show it here pretty quickly.
Yeah, without question. I think it's time for him to put all the pressure he can on Elliott. The Porsche's strong points, of course, are its braking and its overall ease of handling. Elliott would have more power, but that's about it. I'd like to see Izzy really put a go towards Elliott.
Elliott Forbes Robinson now working all by himself. There's been a good amount of attrition at this point. The track is clear, even though there's rubber on the surface. Does this make it easier for a race driver?
Yeah, all Elliott has to do, and/or Izzy, are keep themselves out of trouble. And at the moment, that's a simple thing to do. The cars aren't bunched up, which allows you to pick when you pass and to stay on line.
We talked about Elliott Forbes Robinson's great amount of experience. We show you back in 1969, 24 seasons ago, he was an IMSA GTU winner at this same racetrack, the 1982 Trans Am champion. So EFR with just a tremendous amount of seat time and a wide range of automobiles.
I don't want to embarrass old Elliott, but Elliott, I was probably still in diapers there, buddy. Elliott's car is showing a bit of smoke there, and I'm concerned as to what that may be. Now, being a turbocharged automobile, just because it's smoking does not mean impending failure. Turbocharger, it's imperative. Uh-oh, there you go.
More trouble for the 48 car. We saw him a few laps ago. David Carroll from Marina, California, spinning again up the hill into turn 2. This is near where he got into problems back midway in the race.
This is true. Again, this turn is a very difficult one. He's trying to make a pass on this Honda, probably carrying too much speed. Locks up the rear tires. If you jump on the brakes too suddenly, you will always upset the car, which is all I think you saw.
Carroll and Michael Sturm in that Honda. They're the two cars that got together earlier. Sturm getting by this time. Carroll stopping on the course, but will stay green and going here. Elliott Forbes Robinson continuing to show the way. He's coming up on Carroll's automobile, and Elliott will have to slow it down and tuck it in as the yellow is out in that part of the course. Carroll's car stalled right there, so the safety crew is going to have to come and provide some attention to that Chevrolet. Elliott Forbes Robinson back on the throttle. We see Elliott using up a lot of racetrack. He's working those rumble strips even at this stage of the game.
Well, the car may have a bit of a push. When you see that, you tend to see a guy actually use the front curbing, or the curbing from the front to upset the rear of the car, so it actually becomes a neutral handling car. Certainly not unexpected. As the track gets warm and a lot of debris on the track, it's very common to do that.
Elliott Forbes Robinson up the short straightaway into turn 7 once again. Now, this is a timed event, and we're getting very close to the finish, Price. Elliott all by himself here. He'll start down the S's. At this point, he's got to be concerned with just staying clean, staying on the race course.
Well, no question. He's about to pass a few extra cars he probably wishes weren't there at this moment. He knows it is. He's still close enough to give him a problem. But I know he's probably pretty pleased that both Corvettes had difficulties.
Elliott qualified second today. Both R.K. Smith and Bill Cooper, who bracketed him up front, had problems. Elliott Forbes Robinson has moved along very smoothly here all afternoon at Sears Point International Raceway. He disposes of Gary Ain in car number 20. EFR all by himself now down into turn 11. Tough part of this racetrack.
It can be, particularly if you're trying to pass somebody on the outside. You tend to run out of room before you expect it, using the walls you see there on the exit.
Elliott Forbes Robinson stays straight, keeps the car off the wall. He blisters by the pits, and it looks as though the checkered is in hand. The starter waves the checkered flag, and Elliott Forbes Robinson comes home the winner today here at Sears Point International Raceway in the SCCA World Challenge Series. EFR takes an A-class victory and also the overall win. He can fly again the stopped automobile, the 48 that we talked about earlier, David Carroll, who spun twice. And let's take a look at the top finishers now in the B class. The Neil Hanneman-Willie Lewis battle that raged on. Hanneman out of the final corner. Looks as though he's going to ease to victory in this division. Price, Lou Gelati with problems, unable to be around at the finish today.
And, of course, Willie Lewis had troubles, too, in that Gelati accident.
Hanneman takes the checkered flag. He wins in Class B. The 71 automobile coming up for a nice second. David Lapham out of the Bronx in New York. Hanneman the winner, Lapham second in that Mazda. And a good battle in Class B as Hanneman really was up in the top 5 much of the event and coming home the victor today in the Archer Brothers Eagle today. Class C also some outstanding racing. Let's take a look now. Peter Cunningham in car number 9, the Honda, leading the 2 Oldsmobiles. Ron Emick has gotten in front of Dave Jolly here on the last lap. The 82 of Emick in second spot, Jolly in the 81 third, and under the checkered flag, Peter Cunningham takes the victory in Class C in his Honda Prelude, the Auto Technica car. So Cunningham with a good drive here as well at Sears Point International Raceway. Elliott Forbes Robinson, your overall winner. The Daltech Racing Nissan, gloved hand out the window. EFR accepting the applause of the crowd today here at Sears Point. A fine, fine victory for this veteran competitor here at this California race course in the Northern California wine country. Everyone enjoys coming here. We see Izzy Sanchez going by, waving to the course workers. Sanchez with a good run to second spot.
Great run by Izzy, but I certainly think Elliott had his work cut out for him from the look of things at the start. Drove a flawless race to bring it home first.
We'll be back to talk to the winners at Sears Point.
Key parts.
Do you have custom running boards? You carry gas shocks? Do you sell Holly carbs?
You have chrome wheels,
Neon kits? Lift kits?
stereos,
Turbo mufflers?
car mats,
Jeep tops?
front filters, pinstripes,
Slick 50?
bug shield.
Yes, Pickup Restore, the engine restorer and lubricant. Its patented formula can boost compression, reduce oil burning, and restore power to vehicles with high mileage from $4.95.
For high performance, off-road, or traditional replacement parts and accessories, visit your nearest Key Parts Auto stores or call 1-800-AUTO-PARTS.
The safest, most advanced paint care product available is Clear Care, made especially for new cars. Clear Care safely removes oxidation, road film, and other dulling contaminants. Carnauba Wax protects your car from rain, snow, and blistering sun. So before you take your baby out for a spin, dress it for the weather.
What else would you expect from the country that invented rock and roll?
What an outstanding drive for Elliott Forbes Robinson, the overall winner today here at Sears Point International Raceway, the SCCA World Challenge. EFR undoing the radio cable there, and he'll climb out from under the belts and pop out of the driver's door of that Daltech Nissan. We take a look at the order of finish in Class A. EFR the winner over Izzy Sanchez. R.K. Smith does get third in the class. Boris Said takes fourth. Bill Cooper fifth, even though the 2 Corvettes had problems, as did Boris earlier in the event today. John Schneider and Steve Dinan rounding out the 7 entries in Class A. Right now the winners with Bill Hennessy.
Congratulations, Elliott. You picked off a win here today. You were actually running away from them when you had that full course yellow. I thought maybe you were going to give up some ground, but you came right back.
Well, I'll tell you, the Corvettes had some trouble today, but the Nissan ran perfect. Yeah, just the Goodyear tires held up. I was worried about them, and never had a problem whatsoever. It just ran perfect. And when we had the caution, that Porsche seemed to have better tires than I did for a lap or two. And I was really worried, but it seemed to come back, and I had picked up a lot of stuff off the track, you know, running slow, and then it came around, and then it ran good after that.
Well, it's good to continue your fine tradition of bringing Nissans to victory lane.
Yeah, I'm glad to have a good car like Nissan to do it with, Bill. Thanks.
Congratulations to Elliott Forbes Robinson here at Sears Point.
EFR with a great victory. Price confident in Class B. Some great racing. Neil Hanneman over David Lapham.
I was surprised to see that some of that went on. Willie Lewis is probably a little irritated, old Lou, but that's racing.
Lou Gelati back for 10th. We take a look at the third group of 5. Tom Nastasio had problems and manages 13th. Jay Morris and Spencer Sharp rounding out the order of finish. Class B winner, Neil Hanneman. He is trackside with our Bill Hennessy.
Neil Hanneman, congratulations. Victoria's here at Sears Point. What a race you had here in this World Challenge event.
It was a really tough race. We had Lou Gelati to deal with, and we were okay at the beginning. After the yellow, our front tires were a little bit worn out, and he came on strong. He actually got by both of us at one point. Then he and Willie tangled. I managed to get by both of them. I thought I had it wide open then, and then late on, the Mazda of Dave Lapham comes up behind, was making a good run at us, and really had to work hard at the end to stay ahead.
What a way to celebrate Independence Day.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Thanks. I'd like to thank Eagle, the Archer Brothers, HKS, and Goodyear Tires.
Neil Hanneman, the man that won Class B here at Sears Point.
Now, Hanneman gives us the thumbs up. I think a big thumbs up, too, Price, to some of these Class C entrants. This is a great battle.
Well, Peter Cunningham has to be pretty proud of his achievements today. He soundly trounced Dave Jolly, who really put the moves on him in qualifying. I'm surprised to see this.
Bill Hennessy has caught up with the winner of Class C.
Hard-fought race for Pete Cunningham. Peter, you did a great job out there for Class C and taking victory.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a long race. It's pretty hot out here, but the longer the race went on, this Honda just kept handling better and better, and I think some of the other cars started to fall off a little bit.
Did you have any close calls today?
Actually, on lap 1, I had a couple close calls. The guy right ahead of me on the start hit 5th instead of 3rd. I've done that before in that kind of car, so it's easy to do, so that held me up a little bit. And then we touched a couple times on that first lap, but after that, it was real smooth.
The full course yellow, it allowed the field to bunch up again. Did you get worried?
Yeah, I got real worried. I wasn't sure how it would work out, but fortunately for me, traffic worked my way this time instead of the other way around like it seems to have been going for me lately. So I was thankful for that. I'm just thankful for my crew who worked real hard on this car, and the Kenwood and Redline people. They've really helped us to have a great race car.
A, B, and C make up 3 great classes here in the World Challenge. Congratulations to you from everybody at the Prime Network.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Peter Cunningham certainly pleased with his victory in Class C here today at Sears Point. Let's take a look at the point standings after 3 rounds of the World Challenge in Class A. Elliott Forbes Robinson, today's winner, your leader. Izzy Sanchez, who finished 2nd today, up to 8th over Steve Dinan in 9th in Class A. Class B, Neil Hanneman, today's winner, the leader, Willie Lewis, in 2nd spot. Dave Lapham, who got 2nd today, is 3rd. Lou Gelati, who contended today, down in 7th. Tom Nastasi, 8th. In Class C, Ron Evick, your point leader, over Peter Cunningham. Today's winner, Dave Jolly, is 3rd. Michael Sturm, 4th. Some good runners in that second 5. Norris Rancourt is 7th. Mark Youngquist, 9th in that Nissan Sentra. But your winner today, Elliott Forbes Robinson here at Sears Point International Raceway. Bryce Cobb, as we look at the 3 drivers who make it to the podium for EFR, this has to springboard him into a great season.
I know that he's probably looking forward to finalizing the rest of it. Be interesting to see how he can hold off the Corvettes the rest of the year.
Certainly a great manufacturer's battle today, probably to play out the rest of this season across the racetracks of North America in the SCCA World Challenge. Great victory today for Elliott Forbes Robinson. Our coverage today brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America. And our Patterson International crew stays at the Holiday Inn Marin San Rafael, the official hotel of Sears Point International Raceway. Call 1-800-231-2911 to find out more. I want to thank Bill Hennessy, who patrolled pit road for us today. For Bryce Cobb, I'm Rick Benjamin. See you next time on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour.